Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go ahead and call this regularly scheduled November 25th meeting to order at 7 p.m. Our attorney is going to be here in 2 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I would like to begin with an approval of the agenda as it was published. Do I have that motion? I have a motion from Commissioner Martin.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Maison. Any comments, questions, motion on the floor from the dais? Public comments, questions on the motion on the floor? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously. I'd like to invite Pastor Ian Campbell, Newberry United Methodist Church, to give tonight's invocation. If you would please rise for the invocation, remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. It will follow directly. Pastor, thank you for coming back again, and thank you one more time for all that you and your church did for all the different sports organizations around town with the pumpkin sale. It was fantastic, and we do appreciate it.
God, who goes by many names, we start our week with gratitude. We give you thanks for this day, and in this holiday season, we are grateful for all of Newberry, grateful for everyone, for we can only be Newberry when we are truly together. And as we move closer and closer to Thanksgiving, our hope is for continued gratitude for all lives, stories, and voices that make this community who we are. Thank you for our leaders, those in this meeting tonight, as well as those who could not be here. And thank you for who they are and what they bring to this city. As the work continues this evening, may it be a time reflective of your presence, building community, hope, and love. Amen.
Yeah. Commissioner Clark. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor Ian. We appreciate that. That's going to move us to some presentations tonight. We're going to start off with what was a fantastic event, the Newberry High School Career Fair. I had the chance to pop in, but I'm not going to steal any of Miss Missy's thunder here. Tell us about how the day went and how many hundreds of youngins signed up to work for the city of Newberry.
I don't know how many signed up to work here. Good evening. My name is Missy Claude. I'm with the Department of Community Development.
It's a trick clicker. We like to just play with everybody that comes up and give a presentation.
So the point of the career fair is to inspire pathways beyond a traditional college education. So here's a few pictures of the Department of Corrections and our very own department. Last year, so the city manager approached Randa, Paul, and myself and asked to bring the career fair back to the school. So we started last year in October, and we had approximately 28 employers that came. Last year we had a great showing from our Newberry businesses, and here are a list of a few of them: Dollar General, Norfleet, Argos, Sanderfeet, Electric, Watson Construction, RPM, and our fire department. And I had to add that little Shep loves the kids because I think that's the funniest thing ever. And these are the hundreds of kids that show up last year and this year. It is a packed house, elbow to elbow. And I think the majority of them do engage. The first year I was a little like, oh, are they really going to engage in any of this? And they do. They ask a lot of good questions. Career pathways beyond a college education. Some examples are medical billing, IT support, paralegal, network security. The benefits of that are faster entry into the workforce and affordable programs, and the community impact provides economic growth and lower unemployment rates. And entrepreneurship opportunities. I put my son's business up there, a little plug, Real Motion Clips. And I added Randa, because she just got her real estate license, and the massage school. I myself, for 25 years, owned a hair and nail salon. So, and I had a great run at that. That was an amazing career. Military career options. We had, this year, the Army and the Marines showed up. I don't remember last year all of who showed up, but Mark Clark was there, and he made the connection for us, and they came back again this year. And inspiring the next generation. At this year's career fair, we hosted over 30 employers, and we have at least 6 that have emailed us or reached out to Dallas and asked if we could put them on the list for next year. And your impact by participating, city leaders can inspire students to consider all career options, help students find fulfilling paths suited to their talents and interests, and make a lasting positive impact on our community's future and workforce. These are just a few emails that we received after the career fair, just congratulating us, asking to come back next year, and expressing what a good time they had and how engaged the kids were. This is just my little sheet of all the yeses on the left side was this year and the no's on the right side. Local businesses did not attend so much this year, so I'm hoping next year last year they were great, this year we didn't have as many, but hopefully next year. And this is fun. So last year Dollar General came and they bought great swag. So we upped our game a little bit this year, and then they came with 4 pallets, and you can see the boxes, 4 of those full of goodie bags for the kids. So we started asking the kids, like, what can we do? What can we do? We got to beat Dollar General next year. So now it's like a game. We're in it with Dollar General.
Well, it's going to be hard to beat Dollar General.
That's a lot.
We had hats and bags and Pop-Tarts.
Everything. Food,
for 2 weeks.
Name it.
We were eating Pop-Tarts. Pop-Tarts for everybody.
And I just wanted to add this to congratulate the Panthers for their district championship. Regional?
Semi. We got one more. Yeah. We got one more. We had 2 more. If we keep winning, 2 more, then we go to state. But great picture. I like that picture.
That's
Well,
it.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really do. I love the career fair. No, we can go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I think happened when No Child Left Behind legislation passed in 2001 or 2, whenever that was, is that public education is now 100%, everyone's going to college. And I just think that there are so many other paths and avenues out there, and we really have to do the work of helping young folks understand all the
Absolutely.
different options that are out there. College is great. I enjoy it. But I know that there's a lot of other ways to make a really good living.
Absolutely. And, my son, he has his own business, and now he's realizing I better go learn how to have a business. So it's been 2 years that he graduated, but now he's enrolled in Santa Fe. So even if they take that path and then it go back to college, so it's a great opportunity.
And we talk about it for the couple days going into it and a couple days afterwards. So I appreciate all
Good.
the work that everybody did to make it happen.
you.
Thank you so much. All right, and it is that season. So Rod, come on down and tell us about this year's efforts and our never-ending Newberry will be, I think we already are, the Christmas capital of Alachua County.
That's for sure. All right, well, good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the commission. My name is Rod Clark, Recreation Director. I appreciate the opportunity to provide an update on our plans for the 2024 Newberry Christmas celebration. This year will be my first time participating in the festivities as the rec director and a proud Newberry resident. I'm excited to participate and help continue to build on the success of this cherished tradition. Last year, as you know, my predecessor, Travis Parker, did an exceptional job leading the charge of the Christmas celebration, helping to establish Newberry as the Christmas capital of Alachua County, and a hub for holiday activities, and our goal is to continue down that same path. For the 2024 season, I've happily taken on the role to work closely with our community partners in coordination and support of them, including including the Newberry Main Street Organization, the Chamber, the Concerned Citizens of Newberry, and Greenfield Preschool to ensure another memorable season for our Newberry residents and friends. In regards to our preparation plans, we're now wrapping up the preparation phase of the Christmas celebration. We still have a few meetings left with our community partners and our in-house Christmas committee. This week, the pole decorations are scheduled to go up. Those are the decorations that everyone will see as they come into town from north to south and east to west. And then also, starting on the Monday after Thanksgiving, we'll start the downtown Main Street decorations, including putting up the tree and all the lights and more lights on the tree, as we talked about. Okay. All right, let me go back here. Part of what I think what makes Newberry a special place is the annual Christmas celebration. For each weekend, we do have events planned leading up to Christmas. We have fun, festive events, as you can see, scheduled starting from the first weekend of December. On 12/7, which is the first Saturday of the month, we have the 6th annual tree lighting ceremony. And we'll also have the Christmas market open, and that also marks the start date of the Light Up Christmas contest. More on that in a moment. On 12/14, we'll have Movie in the Park and the golf cart contest. On 12/21, we'll have the gingerbread contest and block party. I believe the block party part of that is new. Followed by the Christmas parade and Christmas on the Square. And then on the 22nd, we'll have, there's going to be the tour drive.
I love that we got, I think last year we had a rainstorm or something, but I love that we got the parade and the gingerbread contest back on, because that means that you can just leave the municipal building open. People can be there to watch the parade. They can go in, they can look at all the different gingerbread houses. And so now you remind me, I got to start building mine. That's about a 3-month process. It's a lot of work to build a gingerbread house if you're going to win, right?
Awesome. So our website, if you go to our website at www.christmascapitalofalastriocounty.com, or just simply use the QR code that you see on the screen there, there you'll find the full schedule of events as seen in this presentation and much more. Our website is updated with the latest information, and it's meant to provide a centralized and easily accessible platform for residents and visitors to stay informed for all of Newberry's Christmas festivities. Lastly, I'd like to mention that we will again be having the Light Up Newberry contest, which is our Christmas light contest. Last year, we did utilize a web application by Christmas Prism to host the contest, and we'll do so once again. Although the contest officially begins on 12/7, residents can download the app today if they want, and register as a contestant as early as December 1st. So basically, the reason why we kind of do it a little bit late is that the same folks host a Halloween app, and they don't activate the Christmas app until mid-November, mid to late November. And there's also an update that's happening as well. But it will be ready to go. Like I said, you can download it now, and you can register as early as December 1st.
Rob, could you have somebody, because we used the app last year, and in some ways it's great. It'll it'll tell you where all the people are, it'll tell you where the map is, but there was one part, that was confusing, and people kept creating their own contest, and then they just have a contest of one.
Okay.
And so I know that sometimes, like, young folks can do this really easily. You can sign up for something on your phone, and you can record the screen, and then people can kind of follow along. So I think that would be, because I think the app is really a great idea. This is how it's going to work in the future, but we got to help folks figure out how to navigate it, because we got a lot of people that want to participate in this. And they said, well, I thought I was going to win. And they said, well, you did win in the contest that you created. But you didn't win in the contest that everyone else was participating in.
Gotcha.
So if you, and maybe somewhere in there, just do a little how-to video, and then we could all share it and help people figure out how to navigate the app.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Not a problem, but basically how it works, is like it says, like in years past, residents will be able to vote on their favorite home in Newberry. Basically, the app provides a centralized location, hopefully to help more people to participate, and it will provide the direction and keeps track of the votes inside the app, as many of you already know. But as a participant, you download the app, you locate the Light Up Newberry contest, and you just add your home and enter the contest. As a fan, you download, you locate the Light Up Newberry contest, view the contest, the map list, and then you can drive around, visit the homes with you and your family, and cast your vote.
Yeah.
So it sounds pretty simple, but I'll definitely get on that request, Mr. Mayor. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I'd like to thank the commission for your continued support, and that concludes my presentation. Are there any questions?
Anybody got any questions, Commissioner Martin?
I bet there's a YouTube video on how to use that app.
Probably is already.
Yeah.
You, you don't have to recreate the work. I bet it's there.
You're probably right.
Commissioner Coleman?
Is that daggum elf gonna come back here again?
I think we had a resolution banning the elf, or actually it might have been that he has to do it every single day.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I'm a little surprised we're not already in the outfit right now, to be
Exactly.
honest with you. A little disappointed.
As soon as Thanksgiving's
all right.
over, there's no telling.
It's going to get a little hard to find new locations. Somebody's going to have to get him on top of the water tower.
Not afraid of heights, are you?
Now you're gonna see on the Gainesville, got arrested.
Mug shots.
It was all the mayor's idea.
Any other questions? Great work. Looking forward to it. It's going to be so much fun. Of course, on the same day as the parade, we got the block party. There'll be another festival at Christmas on the Square down there. So there's lots going on in the city of Newberry. Really appreciate everybody stepping up and doing all the work that goes into making all these events happen. So I know it's a lot. I'm looking forward to that tree lighting ceremony and looking forward to those elf shots. Yeah.
Definitely.
How's the Christmas gift giveaway going?
Oh man, it's going great. We're expecting it again this year. Be bigger and better with the help of the city. I think it's going to be a hit.
All right.
Yeah.
It always
You
is.
were there last year. How big it was?
Yeah, it
Actually,
was.
Tim was too.
I think we were all there.
Everybody
Yeah.
was there. Everybody was
Yeah. They were trying to get a bike.
there. Monty, were you there?
You had your little bike.
Yeah.
You had your little tough guy involved.
I think you were there, Monty. You had the Grinch outfit on.
Thank you, sir. We let you off the hook.
I just want to say,
Smile out of you.
I want to say one thing, that the Panthers are playing my hometown, the Cocoa Tigers. So
Ooh.
in Cocoa. So
Well, I know how hard it
it'll
is
be
for you to root against your home team, but I know who you'll be going for.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, Dallas, you got to be careful. We're getting kind of used to you coming and giving us this, but we never want to take this moment for granted. This is a great accomplishment, so take it away, and we'll give you all the praise afterwards.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yep. This is one of my favorite things I get to do, at least for the last 6 years, is present to the commission our award from the Government Finance Officers Association, our Certificate of Achievement and Excellence in Financial Reporting. We received this, like I said, for six years in a row. I think I initially said it was 5, but it's 6. Never said I was good at counting. This certificate is the highest form of recognition that a government can receive for governmental accounting and financial reporting, and its attainment represents a significant accomplishment by the city. As I mentioned, this is the 6th consecutive year that we've received the award, which less than 6% of governments nationwide receive, and only 1% of governments Newberry size receive. It is a comprehensive program. There's a 42-page checklist of all the items that we have to comply with in order to be named proficient. So I'd like to thank the commission for supporting us in maintaining these high standards. Of course, the finance and accounting team for implementing the standards and keeping us on track, and of course all the city staff for listening to the finance department when we whine at them for not complying with things and making them fix stuff. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I believe you have the plaque.
I do. But I just want to say, how proud we are of you guys. Everything that you do starts at the top here, goes to there, but you guys really take the initiative, and to me, it is amazing that 1% of governments our size are able to do what you guys are able to do. It's not surprising anymore, because again, I've had reason to say this a lot lately, that, we believe in Newberry and we always support Newberry, and Newberry never lets us down. And when you stand at that podium and you say, we can do this, you say this is going to work, you say this is feasible, this is viable, you've got, as the kids say, you got the receipts to prove it. 6 years of the highest award in international, right, America and Canada, of transparency in government accounting. And I know that we get a lot of criticism from other local governments around us, but I don't know of any other local government around us that is doing the job that you guys are doing, to the degree that other local governments around us are coming to ask for your help. And I'm proud that we're able to help them. I'm proud that we have that kind of love in our heart to help out fellow communities. I hope that they heed your advice, because I think that you will help set them straight and get whatever issues are ailing them figured out. But thank you for what you do for Newberry, because this is really where the rubber meets the road, when we can say, look, it's transparent, you can see it. That's because you guys are doing the work that allows us to say that emphatically and enthusiastically and honestly. So I'm looking forward to the other side of the plaques coming in. We're a few years back here. I think we got to catch up, right? Yeah. We got to catch up. But this, and where will this be on display?
It hangs in the finance department.
Well, maybe we should get one more just to put in the lobby out here, just see it. But thank you so much for you and your team, and I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just echo those sentiments. We do quite a bit of benchmarking with the city, especially during budget time. We share with the commission different ways we measure up with other communities, primarily because you only live in one city at a time, so you don't necessarily know what the competition's doing. Whereas, if you're going to the sporting goods store, there's 3 in town, there's 4 grocery stores in town, and so you have a better job of knowing what the competition is doing. And I think it's hard for us to be excellent if we're not comparing ourselves to what other people that are in the same business as us are doing, to make sure that we know all the tricks and that we're excelling. So when we were talking about benchmarking, Dallas and his team said this as a goal was kind of like the ultimate goal for finance and accounting, as a way of benchmarking and giving assurances to our community that that we are good at what we do and that they are good at what they do. It is a tremendous effort for them to put this together, and every year I wonder, are we going to have the time and the resources to do it one more year because it's so time intensive? When you look up at that and you see that 329 out of 32, almost 32,000 cities, I'm telling you, it has to do with staffing. It's just the smaller the cities just don't have the staffing to pull that off, and our staffing make time for it. As you go up, you can see that the majority of larger cities do apply for this and are recognized for it, but it's a real testament to our team, and it's primarily finance and accounting, but there's not one department that is not involved in finance, in budget, in accounting on a day-to-day basis, and it's hats off to them. The commission set the bar a long time ago with this team, and these are the ways that they respond, and I could not be more proud of the team that I get to come to work with every day. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the time.
Hear, hear. Any other comments? Awesome. All right, we appreciate it. I look forward to these other plaques. I want to see the little. That brings us to public announcements. Ladies and gentlemen, your commission likes to hear from you frequently and often, so they set aside this time at the beginning. These are 2-minute public announcements. If you got a garage sale, something going on, if you need to talk to the commission about something a little longer, a little more in depth, we got a 5-minute section at the end of the night for you to talk about, but we want to make sure you don't have to wait here the whole meeting if you just came to let us know about something. So if you got anything to say, now's time. Queue up. Come on down.
Hey guys, Brandy Oldman. I just wanted to touch on my stop sign again on Northwest 4th Avenue and I don't know, Archangel Road, whatever that number is. We terminate, so that road terminates and goes, splits off both ways. 257. And we received some pretty obnoxious, like, signs that say which way to go, which we already know which way to go, but no stop sign. So we still have cars that are nearly colliding on that road. So if y'all could just look into that. I know y'all don't like me very much, but we really do need that stop
Love everybody
sign.
that comes and participates, Ms. Brady.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Other public comment? Seeing none, that's going to move us to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as published?
So moved.
I have a motion from Commissioner Coleman.
Second.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
This is, all right, roll call. Commissioner Coleman?
Aye.
Commissioner Clark?
No.
Commissioner Farnsworth? Commissioner Martin? Commissioner Mazon?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-1 with Commissioner Clark in dissent. That'll move us to public. Yeah,
Before we go
go ahead.
further, I think, the only reason I'm in dissent on this one is I'm pretty sure I looked at my stuff that was sent to me in number 7, which is our request for final plat approval. I thought was moved into at least a discussion, nothing to do with it. I'm sure the staff's already looked over it, but it's been so long ago for that particular one. I just would have liked to seen that. That's the only reason I should have called Mike earlier. I thought this was already moved. So
That's
me
mine.
personally, I would have liked to have seen that final, what that looks like. And I don't remember much about it except what we approved it on first and second reading, but I don't remember anything coming back and looking at roads or anything like that on it. So that's the only reason. Other than that, maybe in the future we can look at it. Some guys may not like it, but I think I do.
I mean, it's been a long time since we had any confusion on the consent, but any commissioner can pull it off the consent agenda before we approve. But, I mean, we could go ahead and do that now if you want. Commissioner Martin?
Mr. Mayor, or Mr. Attorney, can you chime in? Does consent agenda have to be unanimous or just
I
majority?
believe it does have to be unanimous, but I think a reconsideration of the item 7 could be had here. And
Which would be, I mean, if we could pull it and have that conversation. I hate for any commissioner to feel like something went.
to see what we got.
Right. And in the future, anything on the consent agenda, any commissioner can just say, before I call, I'd like to pull that off, and then, so we're gonna pull that.
Okay.
All right, I need a motion.
Motion to reconsider.
Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Martin, second from Commissioner Mazon. This is a motion to reconsider item 7. We're gonna pull that off of the consent agenda. We'll present it later on. What will that become?
Mr. Mayor, we're going to move that to after item 13. It'll become the new item 14.
Okay, all right. That's the motion on the floor. Any comments, or questions on the motion on the floor from the dais? Public comments or questions on the motion on the floor? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. That's going to move us to item 9, which is Resolution 2024-61. Mr. Attorney, would you please read that resolution into the record for us?
yes, sir, this is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Newberry, Florida, adopting final amendments for the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget and providing severability, conflicts, and effective date. The purpose motion is to pass Resolution 2024-61 at the appropriate time, Mr. Mayor, as read by title only.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Amanda, take it away.
We have a little presentation. Do I need to?
Click the button and it should go right there. Nope, that's,
Okay. Well, while she gets ready. So, Mr. Mayor, City Commissioners, as you are aware, the Finance Department performs an end-of-the-year review of actual receipts and expenditures for each fund and department as part of its end-of-year procedures. This review is intended to identify budget and expenditure variances in need of correction. Staff's recommendation is that you move to approve Resolution 2024-61, amending the final budget. As a result of the review, the Finance Department deems it necessary to reallocate previously appropriated funds to correct several budget variances. Florida statutes allow for a final budget amendment up to 60 days after the close of the fiscal year. I have nothing major to report to you in this budget amendment. Overall, the city came in under budget.
let's pause right there for just 1 second. Okay, go ahead.
A final report of the city's financial activities will be provided once the year has been closed out and the audit is complete. A majority of the budget amendments presented to you tonight are just ratifying budget transfers that the city manager has made under his budgeting authority. Staff's recommendation is for you to move to approve Resolution 2024-61, amending the final budget. And then I'll just show you, this is the general fund. If you want to see the second to the far right column is the final budget amendment.
Nah, come on, you're killing me here with this font
I
size.
know.
All right? I mean, you're making it too big. You're making it too big. I can read all
My
of that.
apologies.
Yeah.
And then the special revenue funds.
If only we had an eyeglass doctor in town that could help me out.
And so that completes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Well, it's a night of good news, and I want to say thank you one more time because I can't remember now what the name of it is. Tim might remember. There's an economic theory I used to teach in class where bureaucracies have no incentive to come in under budget because they come in under budget, then the commission cuts their budget next year. So they just keep on spending. And I'm very happy that we have created a culture where we're not incentivizing that, where we are proud to say we come in under budget, even in years where we have, and every year we have something that hits us out of left field, right? And you guys are still able to come in under budget. Another thing that we should all be able to celebrate as a community. So, do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2024-61?
Motion.
Have a motion from Commissioner Maison, second from Commissioner Martin. Any comments or questions on the motion on the floor from the dais? Public comments or questions on the motion on the floor? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Happy
We
Thanksgiving,
appreciate
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
All right, I'll move us to second reading for small-scale future land use map amendment from industrial to commercial. Mr. Attorney, would you please read on second reading ordinance 2024-28/CPA 24-09?
Mr. Mayor, this is an ordinance of the City of Newberry, Florida, amending ordinance number 4-91 as amended, relating to an amendment of future land use plan map of the City of Newberry Comprehensive Plan under the expedited amendment procedures established in sections 163.3184, subparagraphs 2 and 3 of the Florida statutes, and in conformance with sections 163.3161 through 163.3215 of the Florida statutes, providing for a change in future land use classification from industrial to commercial on certain lands within the corporate limits of the City of Newberry, Florida. Letcher County tax parcel number is 01898-000-000, and a site consisting of approximately 1.28 acres, providing severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass ordinance number 2024-28, CPA 24-09, upon its reading by title only.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Uma, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everybody. I'm reading the second reading for ordinance 2024-28 for future land use map amendment from industrial to commercial on a 1.28 acres. The recommended motion is adopt ordinance 2024-28 CPA 2409 on second and final reading. Just an overview, we just heard this last week. It's a small-scale future land use map amendment from industrial to commercial on a property located at 849 Northwest State Road 45, consisting of approximately 1.2 acre, identified as parcel number 01898-000-000. This is the property. It's industrial right now, and the proposed use is retail store. So we are doing a due diligence of moving it to commercial district. And the proposed store is Shirt Shack. The petition is by Joy Glancer, agent for Coleman's, and as we discussed, it's from industrial to commercial we are moving, and Shirt Shack is coming here, so we are excited about that. And staff find the request consistent with the City of Newberry Comprehensive Plan and Land Development Regulation, and oops, I didn't put that. And we recommend adoption of, sorry about that, adopt ordinance 2024-28, CPA 2409 on second reading. I am here for any question. Joy Glancer is not here. Yes, but I'm here for any questions.
See, now I think she looks scared.
It's there? Okay, sorry. Yes, so.
Okay, so we read it in. I saw the parking lot went in. It looks great. Looks great. Any questions? Commissioner Clark?
I don't have any questions, Mr. Mayor. I do have a statement or a compliment.
All right.
I went out there the other night, and the place is absolutely redone, beautiful. The inventory is amazing. I met the owner and his wife, and then all the grandchildren. It's a family affair, and I was just pretty amazed at what they have in there. So if you have not visited, I'm gonna tell you, they have a little bit of everything for what's coming up Christmas, but it is a cool place.
Yeah, I don't do Black Friday anymore, but I'm gonna go there on Friday. We got retail in Newberry. I don't know if I'm gonna be there at 4 in the morning. I don't know, what time are they open on Black Friday?
They're not selling TVs, nobody will get in a fight.
That's right. But all the clothes the kids are wearing, they got it all. They got it all. It looks great in there.
It is a nice place.
Any other questions? If not, I'll have a motion. I have a motion from Commissioner Mazon, second from Commissioner Clark. Comments, questions on the motion on the floor from the dais? Public comments or questions on the motion on the floor? Come on down.
Hi, I'm Brandy Oldman. I just wanted to ask, we're changing it from industrial to commercial now after they've opened? And is that typical?
It's not typical. We had a long conversation about this at first reading and at P and Z.
I wasn't there.
So
Sorry.
that's why I'll repeat it for you. So they started working in there, but then they came to us. Staff advised them that they were out of order, but really liked that it was a lesser intensity. They said if they wanted to proceed at their risk, they wouldn't shut them down because they thought everyone would love the business, love the commercial, love the lesser intensity. So they proceeded at their own risk to get to this moment. But it was at their risk, and that was explained to them. And I applaud our staff for saying, we're not going to shut you down. We're not going to, because other places would have done that, you know.
No, I get that completely. That was just a question for my knowledge to know. I got nothing against Shirt Shack. Cool.
Good.
Thank you.
Other public comments, questions on the motion on the floor? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Next item is a quasi-judicial. So because we are entering a quasi-judicial, this means the commission will stop being a legislative body, will become a judicial board. That means we have to follow certain rules and adhere to a different standard of decision-making. The primary rule must follow concerns testimony, and the substantial and competent evidence standard must be met when the judicial board makes a decision. This standard states the following, and I quote, all public testimony taken under oath, everyone testifying will be subject to cross-examination. All documents and exhibits shall be entered into evidence. The giving of opinion testimony is limited to experts. Closing arguments will be limited to the evidence of record. I'm going to ask the attorney at this point to read into the record the ordinance by title only.
Mr. Mayor, this is an ordinance of the City of Newberry, Florida, relating to the rezoning of approximately 1.28 contiguous acres, more or less, pursuant to a petition by the property owner of said acreage, amending the official zoning atlas of the City of Newberry Land Development Regulations, providing for rezoning from industrial zoning district to commercial intensive CI zoning district on certain lands within the corporate limits of the City of Newberry, Florida. Tax parcel number is 01898-000-000, providing severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, providing an effective date. Appropriate motion is passed. Ordinance number 2024-29 upon its reading by title only upon second reading.
Thank you, sir. At this point, I'm going to ask the clerk if you would swear in the applicant, staff, anyone wishing to participate and speak. Ms. Judy, could you do that for us now? And we have two quasi, so if you're here for either one of them, let's go ahead and do the swearing in right now.
Okay, start my left, please state your name. Uma Sesta.
Juan Daniel Garcia.
Do you hereby swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. You have the duty sworn.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now, before we begin, we need to disclose any ex parte communications. Disclose whether any member have physically inspected the property. Remember, ex parte communications are any conversations or transmission of information that may have bearing or influence on any voting member's decision. Let's do ex parte for both quasi-judicials tonight. Commissioner Coleman, you want to let everybody know you're not related? I didn't catch that joke the first time, but I'm on it now.
You on it?
Yeah, I'm on it
Okay,
now.
they got a fine last name, and who knows,
Way
23
back in
and
the,
me.
yeah.
We'll get together and see if we're related.
All right, Commissioner Clark? Commissioner Barnsworth? Commissioner Bard? Commissioner Maison? I'm a non-voting mayor, but I have nothing to disclose either. I'm going to explain the order of presentation that we will follow for every quasi-judicial item before us this evening. First, we'll hear from staff with an overview, then we'll hear the applicant with their presentation with no time limit. Then staff can give their report and recommendation, also with no time limit. I've not been contacted by anybody wishing to claim a third-party intervener status for either of the quasi-judicials tonight, so that's going to move us to public comment. Any members of the public wishing to speak to that agenda item have 3 minutes to do so. Then we'll hear cross-examinations. Then we'll move to members' decision-making body through the chair can ask questions of the staff, applicant, or any of the participants. Then we'll move to final arguments. Then the city attorney will advise the decision-making body applicable law and factual findings that must be made to approve or deny. Then we'll have deliberations. After deliberations, the motion will be taken to approve conditions, continue, or deny the application. That's what we're going to follow for both. If no one new enters in, I'm not going to have to read that off. Miss Judy, did I miss something? No, you look like I did not. Okay, perfect. Ms. Uma, give us a staff overview, and if they don't have a presentation, move right in to your recommendation.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Uma Sarmishta, Community Development Department. This is the second reading for Ordinance 2024-29 for rezoning from industrial to commercial intensive CI on 1.28 acre. This is the same plot for Church Shack. So recommended motion is adopt Ordinance 2024-29 LDR 2422 on second and final reading. Again, the overview is it's moving from industrial to commercial intensive. The petitioner is Joy Glancher. The applicant is not here right now, but I am here for any question. Proposed use is retail store called Church Shack. We are moving from industrial to commercial intensive, and we are getting Church Shack. So staff finds the request consistent with City of Newberry Comprehensive Plan and Land Development Regulation, and I'm scared to go ahead. I'm here for any question and adopt Ordinance 2024-29 LDR 2422 on second and final reading.
All right, thank you. They're not here, so I'll move us to public comment. Any members of the public wish to speak to just this agenda item, you have 3 minutes to do so. Seeing none, we will move to members' decision-making body. Do you have any questions? None? No, not on second reading. Would you like to make a final argument, Ms. Uma? You don't have to.
No, sir.
All right. Mr. Attorney, would you please advise the decision-making body applicable law for both quasi-judicials tonight?
Substantial and competent evidence, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
We'll enter into deliberations. If they're all in their deliberations, I'll have a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion from Commissioner Martin, second from Commissioner Maison. Any comments, questions on the motion on the floor from the dais? Public comments, questions on the motion on the floor? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. That's going to move us to item 12. We're still in quasi, so I'm not going to have to read all that because no one new entered the chamber. We did quasi-judicial, we did ex parte. Mr. Attorney, would you please read on second reading ordinance 2024-37/LDR 24-25 into the record?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. This is an ordinance of the City of Newberry, Florida, relating to the rezoning of approximately .16 contiguous acres, more or less, pursuant to a petition by the property owner of said acreage, amending the official zoning atlas of the City of Newberry Land Development Regulations, providing for rezoning from commercial neighborhood zoning district to commercial central business district, C-CBD zoning district on certain lands within the corporate limits of the City of Newberry, Florida. The tax parcel number is 02272-000-000, providing severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing effective date. Appropriate motion is to pass ordinance number 2024-37 upon its reading by title only upon second reading.
Thank you, sir. I see the applicant is here, Ms. Uma, but if they don't have a presentation, you can move right into your recommendation.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Uma Sarmishta from Community Development Department. Second reading for rezoning Ordinance 2024-37 LDR 2425, rezoning from commercial neighborhood CN to commercial business district CCBD on 0.16 acre. Adopt Ordinance 2024-37 LDR 24-25 on second and final reading. So this is the parcel where Joel's Coffee was there before. The parcel number is 02272-000-000. Petition is by Stephen Hedges, the highly rated Hedges Eye Care doctor from Jonesville. This is a straight zoning. We will come back again for site plan, and it is a historic building, so it will come back for historic approval too. So current zoning is CN, and proposed zoning is commercial business district because they want to expand a little bit, and in future we are planning to move toward being CBD district at the downtown. So as we discussed last time, CBD is basically, it's intended that district be applied only to the area which forms the city's center or financial, commercial, government, professional, cultural, and associate activity. This intent of the district is to encourage development to the central business district as a focal point of the community, which provides services for our people to live, work, and shop, and what can be better than an eye care specialist. So this is, we discussed last time also that this is the parameter which we see for different commercial zoning district. The overview of the property is they are, will be around, they will do around 1,000 square feet expansion on the existing facility. There will be 4 exam rooms, state-of-art optical and contact lens fitting with supported lab work, new ADA restrooms, and full ADA accessible going up the ramp. They are also planning to have a coffee shop, and I think after the discussion, they are trying to have like a coffee shop which will be from 9 to 9 to 1 o'clock, and I will let the applicant talk more on that. But again, this is just the rezoning right now, and we will be coming back as a site plan approval. These are the initial rendering they have done. They will be keeping the mural, so I'm happy about that because they are in the CRA district too. At present, there was no ADA ramp, but they will be providing ADA ramp. According to CBD parking requirement for other permitted use, there is no parking requirement, but they are being very generous. They have almost 6 parking space there and 1 ADA parking. Apart from that, they have 8. We have 8 on-street parking on the road there, and additionally, the owners have discussed with the Lions Club property owner, and they will be sharing the parking there too. Just an eye view on where the parkings are. So again, as I discussed before, it will come. This petition will come back again as a site and development review, where we will be talking about stormwater retention, parking, and access areas. So at this point, staff find the request consistent with the City of Newberry Comprehensive Plan and Land Development Regulation. And I'm here for any question, and applicant is here for any questions too.
All right, thank you. Could you come down, sir, and just state your name and let us know that you don't have any objections to anything that staff just presented?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Juan Daniel Garcia, agent for the applicant, Dr. Stephen Hedges, Hedges Eye Care. Yes, thank you, Ms. Uma. Wonderful job, and we're here for any questions.
Thank you, sir. That's going to take us to public comment. Any members of the public wishing to speak to this agenda item? You have 3 minutes to do so. Seeing none, that's going to take us, did you have anything for cross-examination? I'm assuming not, since, all right. Then let's go to members of the citizen-making body. Do you have any more questions? I know we had a long conversation at P&Z and another long conversation the first time. I want to say thank you to Dr. Hedges for all of the work that you've done to compromise with, make sure that we don't spill out and have a problem with the neighborhood. Very, very accommodating. I appreciate all of that. Anything new? Then we'll go to, do either of you feel like you need to make a final argument? You don't have to.
No, sir, just
All
a
right.
recommendation.
City attorney already advised us, so we move to deliberations. If there are no deliberations, I'll have a motion. I have a motion from Commissioner Mazon, a second from Commissioner Clark. I see a little contest going on. Any comments, questions, motion on the floor from the dais? Public comments, questions, motion on the floor. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passed unanimously. Welcome, Dr. Hedges. Eye Care Medicine to Newberry. We appreciate it. You see the fawn I'm dealing with here. I need a new set. glasses. All right, wonderful, exciting night tonight. That's going to move us to item 13, which is resolution number 2024-50. Mr. Attorney, would you please read that into the record for us?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. This is a resolution of the City of Newberry, Florida, electing to use the uniform method of collecting non-ad valorem special assessments levied within the incorporated areas of the city, stating the need for such levy, providing for the mailing of this resolution, and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass Resolution 2024-50 upon its reading by title only.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Dallas, take it away.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. As you may recall, in the fiscal year '24 budget, you directed city staff to begin looking at the feasibility of a stormwater assessment in the downtown area in conjunction with the stormwater engineering plan that the commission also directed staff to complete. So the resolution before you tonight is the first step in adopting a stormwater assessment in the downtown area. It does not lock you into doing it. It just allows you the option to continue moving forward. This particular resolution enables us to use the uniform method of collection, which is essentially putting the assessment on the tax bill. State statute says it has to be transmitted to the tax collector by the end of the calendar year. So we are bringing this forward for you tonight to adopt and us to transmit to the tax collector. Again, all this does is tell the tax collector that we may intend to use the tax collection method to collect the stormwater assessment, but it does not implement a stormwater assessment. It does not hold you to using the tax bill. It's just allows you the opportunity when we get to that step in the stormwater assessment program.
Dallas, do we have any idea at this point, this stage, about who's paying this assessment? Because in the original concept, it was the businesses, the commercial businesses downtown who need storm water, but don't all need their own individual storm water, right? So it's kind of a collective way for all of our businesses to work together so that we don't end up with nothing but stormwater fields all over the place.
Mr. Mayor, we just received the draft engineering report about 3 or 4 weeks ago that identifies the city's stormwater needs for the downtown area, for the CRA area. We've provided that to the consultants creating the assessment program, but we haven't gotten any feedback from them yet on how that assessment program would look.
Okay. Because I think, it is always difficult because we have steps of the process. And so when people hear, oh, there's a tax, some people out of ignorance of the process will go and say, well, we're taxing. Some people know the process, but they will still use that. So that's always the hurdle that we have to clear of. How do we figure out how we do this collectively, right, in such a way? And there's no intent from anyone up here to have an assessment that goes out to the whole city. We need to figure out an assessment for the businesses downtown, right?
Correct.
And I just want to say that over and over again because I know that there are people who will twist these words and go out and talk about this tax crazy body. But in order to get to the next step where we can start talking about what that assessment looks like, how far it extends, those kinds of things, we have to have a resolution that we're looking at it, which is basically what this is.
Correct, Mr. Mayor. The engineering study has only been looking at the downtown area, and your assessment is only looking at the downtown area, really just the CRA area. And this resolution is only telling the tax collector that we may intend to use them to collect the assessment if we adopt an assessment and if we choose to use a tax bill.
And hopefully if anyone's here whose daily job is tasked to celebrate all the things that happen in Alachua County, they can help make sure that message is crafted really well and fairly to everybody, that Newberry's trying to do things collectively for the good. Questions about the action, that was just where we are in the process. So now we have to ask, are we still, remember the intent here is, how does Bounds, which their project is stalled, largely because of stormwater, right? It was gonna cost them a ton of money. It cost us a ton of money because we do not have a collective. So I'm in favor of the CBD, but we gotta figure out stormwater, we gotta figure out parking in order to really do that well. And I don't know of another way. This is what we're paying to do right now, is to figure those questions out.
And one point, Mr. Mayor, this is kind of an odd item. If the commission elects not to do this, it does not stop your stormwater program. It just means we can't use the tax bill to collect it. You could still collect it on your utility bills or direct billing.
Okay. Questions, comments, Commissioner Farnsworth?
Okay, I'm okay with it as long as it just affects the people that are going to actually use it, as long as it doesn't end up being an assessment on the regular citizens. It should be only on the businesses. Is this something that has to be renewed every year, or is it just a one and done thing?
Mr. Mayor, so again, this resolution is not setting any sort of assessment, not binding you to any sort of assessment. It's only telling the tax collector that you might have an assessment. To the second question, no, it'd be similar to the fire assessment, where you can change it every year, but if you adopt an assessment and then don't take any action, the current assessment would just roll on. So say you adopt a $20 a year assessment, and you don't adopt a change in that rate, it would just be $20 a year until you adopted a different rate.
Commissioner Martin.
Dallas, if we can do it through the utility bill or something like that, why this versus that? Because we have to pay a processing fee with the tax collector, correct?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, I believe it's about a 2%. This resolution is just giving you the option. We haven't made those decisions yet. We would make those decisions in the summertime if the commission decided to adopt the assessment. But the law says you have to give the notice of intent to the tax collector by the end of the calendar year. So this is just allowing you the opportunity to make that decision. If you don't adopt this tonight, you don't have the option of putting it on the tax bill.
And we've talked about assessments, and we talked about like stormwater impact fees, which would be more of like a one and done. Like, we have to create this infrastructure. An assessment would pay for the initial, and it would pay for the maintenance, but we would carry that, and we would use the assessment to pay the note, is in my brain how this would work. And I know we're nowhere near having the conversation of how this worked, but we do have the opportunity. We are exploring assessment versus like a impact fee type.
The direction the city commission gave to staff was to investigate an assessment, which would be an annual assessment. It could go to fund either operations or capital, much like your fire assessment, whereas an impact fee could only go to fund capital.
Right. And I know there's long-term maintenance of impact, or long-term maintenance of stormwater, but it also is that big chunk of, we got to acquire property, we got to create it first, and then we got to funnel everybody there. So all we're doing tonight is making sure we keep our options open for the conversation to continue in the future.
If it is the commission's intent that we implement a stormwater assessment and then bond the proceeds of that assessment, or implement some sort of stormwater mechanism and then bond those proceeds, an assessment is going to provide you better rates from the market, because assessments are more enforceable than impact fees. Also, assessments continue on every year, whereas impact fees are one time. Additionally, if you would get better rates as well, putting it on your tax bill, because tax bills get collected no matter what, one way or another, whereas direct collection or utility bills may or may not be collected.
Okay. Other thoughts? Commissioner Clark?
Dallas, when will we actually know what kind of assessments we'll be talking about? Will that come in this next 4 week, or would the people that have it now, will they be giving us the price?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. The same people who produce your fire assessment are working on the stormwater assessment. Like I said, we just gave them the draft engineering report, so we're hoping sometime in the spring we can have initial conversations with initial cost options for the commission. It'll be similar to your fire assessment, where they'll come in and they say, this is the most you can charge, and then it'll be up to the commission to decide what level you want to charge, if you want to charge anything.
And this is only in the CRA district? Downtown?
It's the CRA district, but there are some areas that receive benefit outside, like
But it's mainly for this.
Like if the municipal
corridor
building's in the
downtown.
CRA and City Hall's not, City Hall may be assessed because it's still receiving the benefit, but it's the downtown area.
I went to the opening for NC Beef and Seafood today, and I was talking with some folks, and we were, reminiscing about Newberry. And when I was a kid, Newberry really hasn't changed much until the last 10 years, right? Newberry pretty much stayed the same. I remember when Hardee's came in, and oh my goodness, the line was down the street for Hardee's, right? It took 3 hours to get a burger. But what was true when I was a kid was that downtown businesses would come in and out of downtown, right? And now we struggle to get businesses to come in to the historic downtown area. And this right here is one of those reasons, right? I know we've lost 2 businesses already because they want to build something, but the stormwater is hugely expensive, and they have to share that burden. And some of them, they just got to figure out, like, there's only a 1/4 acre lot, right? I can't cut that in half and have half of it be stormwater. So these types of things, I think, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think these are the actions, the steps that need to be taken if we want to help revitalize downtown. Is we've got to get stormwater and we got to figure out public parking, right? Those are kind of the 2 20,000-foot tasks, right? And I don't know what the right answer to those is, but I know we got to effort and work towards answering those 2 questions, right? If we really want to have a vibrant downtown where businesses come because they don't have to shell out $400,000 on their own just for stormwater, right? So, any other questions, thoughts? Nothing's binding in this moment. We're just keeping options open. All right. Did we read this resolution in? I think we did.
We did.
We did. Do I have a motion for the resolution? I have a motion from Commissioner I'm sorry, he beat him this time. Motion from Commissioner Clark. Yeah. Second from Commissioner Coleman. Any comments, questions, motion on the floor from the dais? Public comments, question on the motion on the floor.
Hey guys again. Brandy Oldman, can you explain to me what the CRA, will this adjustment just be on businesses, or is it possible that it be on residential too, just like the fire assessment?
That, as we attempted to explain in the presentation, we're not quite there yet, but the intent up here, as we said, is just for it to be on the commercial businesses downtown that receive the benefit. That's what Commissioner Farnsworth said, is what I said as well.
Right. It's a possibility that it could go on to residents too, just like the fire.
No.
I said, no, there's no possibility of that?
That is not the intent here.
Not the intent, but the possibility.
I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't tell you the future,
Right.
but I can tell you that these 5 people up here that are voting are all shaking their head at you.
That's great. I agree with Monty, what he said. I just worry that it's gonna be another tax. I'm not trying to twist it, and I know it's not your intent, but sometimes things don't go as we intend, as, money comes into, and we have to get it from different sources. I just worry that it will be a regressive tax like the fire assessment, which disproportionately affects us over here on the north side. So if that's your intent, though, that's all I can go with. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. That's going to move us to new item 14. Ms. Uma, come on down. And Mr. Attorney, would you please read Resolution 2024-57/SD2414 into the record for us.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Newberry, Florida, approving with appropriate conditions and safeguards the final plat for Magnolia Acres subdivision. The tax parcel number is 02545-000-000, as authorized under Section 4.19 of the City of Newberry Land Development Regulations in a agricultural zoning district on certain lands within the corporate limits of the City of Newberry, Florida. Tax parcel number is 02545-000-000, consisting of approximately 80 acres, repealing all resolutions in conflict, providing an effective date. Appropriate motion is to pass resolution number 2024-57 as read by title only.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Ms.
sir.
Uma, I really dig in the gray shirt. I like that a lot.
It is, it's very nice, yes.
Take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Yes, I think it's a good idea to read this because it has been a long time since we did Magnolia Acre construction plan. So here we have Magnolia Acres final plat, Resolution 2024-57, SD 2414. I'm Uma Sarmishta, Department of Community Development. Recommended action is approved Resolution 2024-57, SD 2414. I'm sorry, there is a Scrivener error on the top. It's an overview for Magnolia Acre and not Avalon Wood Phase 2. So the request is by EDA consultant. Owner is RRL Newberry Holding. Parcel is 02545-000-000. Petition is to approve final plat for Magnolia Acres subdivision. It's a 15 single-family units in an 80-acre land. The property is located on 15th Avenue. It will have its own septic, and so they are not utilizing any city water or city wastewater. Final plat reviewed by City Development Application Review Team, and was shared with the applicant agent, EDA consultant. Road names were already assigned. School congruency has been completed. This is the construction plan they have submitted, which is like a straightforward 15 lot with all the septics and well inside. Staff find the petition consistent with the City of Newberry Comprehensive Plan and Land Development Regulation, and recommend approval of Resolution 2024-57 SD 14 and SD 2414. I'm here for any questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Comments or questions? Always excited about this one. Like to see all that open space. And I like the fact they're putting in a paved road. Very nice. Is this going to be a gated community? I can't remember. It's been.
They haven't mentioned
They
it
haven't
yet.
mentioned
Yes.
All right.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Martin, second from Commissioner Coleman. Comment, Mr. Manager.
Mr. Mayor, to that point, these are private roads. Private roads, private utilities, what utilities there are. There's no reason for it not to be gated, but they haven't mentioned it to us.
Okay. Any comments, questions on the motion on the floor? Okay. Public comments, questions on the motion on the floor? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. It's going to take us to item 14, which is an interesting conversation. Mr. Manager, are you taking us through this conversation?
Is this Easton or Seaboard?
This is Seaboard. Seaboard. Yep. And just for those in the audience who don't know, we have been trying to work with CSX to get a road that would run parallel to the railroad tracks, which would create a grid system that would allow us access to 15th. We're going to get there in a minute. That kind of stalled out when we had trouble with CSX, but it's still a good plan. It's a great idea. It would allow us to get, the flow of traffic. And I think that this opportunity is wrapped up somewhere in that work. So, Mr. Manager?
Well, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to start with an apology. I spent the better part of today going through the entire slide deck, and
Yours did make it in.
And when I got to this one, I jumped one more, finished that, and when I finished it, I saved it and exited out. And then it just occurred to me, so we could, if the commission prefers, we could postpone it to the next meeting.
Are we time sensitive?
It is not particularly time sensitive, and
Take us through
the
the
commission
conversation, 'cause
prefers not to vote tonight, I'd be more than happy to lead a brief discussion. As the mayor indicated, the commission has been working on doing an improvement project on Seaboard Drive roadway for probably going back 4 years. It was identified one time in one capital improvements project's public hearing as the city's #1 initiative. It hasn't stayed there, but we've ran into some pushback from CSX that we haven't been able to navigate yet. The idea, though, was to build a roadway that would connect State Road 26 to Southwest 15th Avenue, generally follow the railroad tracks down the west side till it gets to the old warehouse that Mr. Post owns, and then it would jump into the residential subdivision that is immediately south of that. So, Mr. Mayor, that project has stalled, but staff doesn't believe it is dead. And a property owner along Seaboard Drive, it's at the intersection of Southwest 2nd Avenue and Seaboard Drive, which is immediately south of the library. So from the library parking lot, look south, it's the next lot. You'll know it has a full 6-foot high corrugated metal fence all the way around it, and a Quonset hut is on the property. There is no living habitat. Nobody's ever built a residence there. But the property owner contacted me, and he said, I remember you stopped by my house a couple years ago, left a business card, expressed interest in the property, and my wife and I, we now live up in Adel, Georgia, and we are at retirement, and we are liquidating, and is the city still interested? And I said, well, I think we are, but I have 6 bosses that I'd like to have a conversation with. So we did the appropriate step, which is to get a property appraisal. And the property appraisal came in, I believe it's about a 3/4 acre site. I have that information right here. It's a little smaller than 3/4 of an acre. And yeah, 0.56 acres. Someone with greater casting abilities than me, but I'll tell you what it is possible for me to do. Is to turn around. Here's the Seaboard Drive here, and here's the property. Here's the library right here, and it is immediately north of the old car wash facility. There's the old car wash facility, and then you see this corrugated metal fence. It's 0.56 acres. It appraised at $101,000, and the appraiser assigned very little value to the Quonset hut or any of the structures because they are in really poor condition. Spoke with the property owner, and he said that that was below what his expectation was for that. And typically in government, staff has flexibility to wiggle about 10%. So I asked him, would he consider a 10% above 101,000 for consideration purposes, 110, and he said yes, that would be acceptable if the city commission was willing. So we have an opportunity to obtain a little over a half-acre piece of property along a strategic corridor, what has previously been identified as a strategic corridor. And the potential uses are a farmer's market, a candidate site, and we have some conceptual drawings that we ran by the city commission back in 2021. Another potential use would be a splash pad. Frankly, I think if the commission is, if the majority of the commission were to pursue that, staff would vote or parking. I think that the splash pad was a really dumb idea, and I don't even know why I said it, Mr. Mayor. No, I'm kidding. Potential parking, potential stormwater. So I think that it is an opportunity that staff will advocate for. It's not the end-all, be-all type of acquisition. We have funding available in the CRA, and I think if nothing else, Mr. Mayor, I think it's a strategic piece of land to obtain, but if nothing else, if 5 years from now the CSX project hasn't moved forward, this is a piece of property that is not going to reduce in value, that it will appreciate, and the city wouldn't want to hold dirt for the sake of holding dirt. If they don't have a good use for it, I'm certain that the city commission would ask the city manager to liquidate it. But staff's recommendation is to authorize the city manager to transmit an offer of $110,000 to Mr. Estes. He's already indicated that that'd be acceptable to him, and to work with the city attorney to schedule a closing.
Mike, can you talk to us a little bit about the timeline for the conversation with CSX? Because I loved that project. It has infrastructure. It has community enhancing. I mean, it's got the downtown parking, it's walkability. I mean, there was so much to love about that. And I really believe that we've just hit into like a hierarchical bureaucracy thing. It's just easy for the folks at the bottom to just say no to you. No. We don't want to have the conversation. But if we could ever get to a decision maker, they would say, yeah, what do we care if you build a road, that you're going to maintain? So how long? I know we've just come into contact with some people who we have a high level of faith that they're going to help us move that forward.
Correct. And Mr. Mayor, what happened is we ran into the lower level staff that said no, and they really they were playing a game. CSX owns the dirt, and they would have to give the city the rights to do what we've asked to do. But they've leased it to Florida Northern Railroad. And so CSX, when we'd ask them about trying to get some land rights, they would ask Florida Northern. And Florida Northern's response would be no. And because for no other reason than we don't want to fool with another project down there, we're happy the way we are. And CSX would come back and say, yeah, we're not going to do it. So we've been waiting, I've been waiting for a strategic opportunity where CSX needed something from the city of Newberry, and those opportunities come infrequently, but they do come. So what has hurt us recently is there's a transloading operation that goes down here with one of our business partners, Swanee Valley Feed. And when Swanee Valley Feed was given authorization to do that temporary transloading operation, we advised them of what the city's objectives and what our goals were, and we asked them that at the end of their transloading operation, because they're planning to move that operation over to the Commerce 41 Park, where they own about 30 acres, they're planning to grow into that, that they would advocate for us with Florida Northern and with CSX to help us obtain those land rights. They have agreed to do that. They remember that conversation, so whenever we bump into them the commission gave them a letter a month ago supporting a grant application. That grant was to build a rail spur into Commerce 41 so they can move the transloading operation over to Commerce 41. And we think that that will be the impetus for us to make another ask of CSX. In the meantime, we've engaged a consultant that we think will have a greater opportunity for success than the previous consultant that we were utilizing, Mr. Mayor. So I'm optimistic that that project moves forward, but this is one of those things where I believe patience is a virtue. That we've been playing a little bit of waiting game to make sure we get CSX in a position where they need from the city, and then we plan to do some horse trading.
I think the only thing that makes me concerned about the timing is we know we have folks in town who are investors who will just buy up parcels, as soon as they know they're on. And then, our opportunity to have a stormwater, or any of the other things that Mike mentioned are much more limited. So questions, thoughts, ideas, Commissioner Clark?
Mr. Mayor, I spoke to Mike on this, and it's a good presentation, and I think the city manager is correct, and we have the money, we're not borrowing money, and if we don't get it, it might be double the price when we want it. So at this point, if we don't do something to help ourselves, we're just going to be spending more money possibly that we don't have in the future. So that's just my statement on it. And you can always sell it. Land, they don't make no more of it. So that's just my thoughts on it. As long as we ain't borrowing money and we got the money, I think for us, to me, it's a great asset.
And Mike, this is in the CRA?
It is, Mr. Mayor.
So it's eligible? Yeah.
It is.
Other Commissioner Farnsworth?
Okay, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think it's our job as city commissioners to supply parking lots or stormwater areas for businesses in the downtown area. We were kind of given the similar presentation whenever the Kincaid building came up. Of course, you weren't involved with that, Mike. That was long before you, and we ended up overpaying for that, and now we're stuck with a piece of property that's just sitting there. So I'm not in favor of purchasing this, and especially not in favor of paying over what it's assessed at. So that's where I stand.
Okay, thank you, sir. Other thoughts? Commissioner Maison, anything? No? All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I spoke with you earlier on this. I always felt that the city should purchase property, in my opinion. I spoke with Marlo about some property that the city actually gave back, and I that was earlier in my in my term, my first term, and knowing what I know now, I would have said no to that. So I always feel that the city should acquire some property and some land, because you never know what might happen in the future, parking lots, water retention, and you can always sell it for twice as much. Not to bring up any other, delaying on projects that we've had costs us more money in the future. So why not purchase it now while we can? If we have it and we can use some grants to pay it off, why not? That's how I feel.
Any other thoughts? I agree completely with Commissioner Farnsworth that it's not our job to provide, which is why we had the earlier conversation about an assessment, so that the businesses that need it have a funding mechanism as a way to pay it. And that was one of the reasons why we spent 20, 30 years working with the county to develop the CRA, was so that we'd have a funding mechanism to pay for some of these things that would help beautify downtown. So we've got the funding mechanism. The CRA was intended to help figure out how to have sidewalks, stormwater, all those things that businesses don't want to pay for. So I absolutely agree. The city, that's not our job to provide it. It's our job to facilitate how those things are funded in a fair way, so that we can attract businesses and splash pads. I just said splash pad. Any other?
Getting in a good mood with all this other stuff.
Yeah. Any other comments? Commissioner Coleman, you want to weigh in? All right, I'll call for a motion. Do we have a recommend? Oh, you don't have one on there. What's the recommended motion here, Mike, is to?
Authorize the city manager to offer $110,000 for the purchase of property at 25329 Southwest 2nd Avenue and close on the property if the offer is accepted.
Okay, do I have that motion?
Motion.
I have a motion from Commissioner Clark, second from Commissioner Maison. All right, let's hash out the questions on the motion. Commissioner Coleman, give us some thoughts. All right, anybody else? No? Public comments, question on the motion on the floor.
I just got one thing for this, is all, thank you. I've got a piece of property for sale, if you'd like to buy it for overvalue, I'm just saying. No, I have no other, but nothing about it. Thank you.
All right,
Are we, was it a commercial appraisal or just a residential appraisal?
It was a residential.
Residential.
Property is residential.
For highest and best use, so it was $110,000 is what it come out?
It was $101,000.
One,
And it was tough negotiations. The property owner got me to go up to 110, contingent upon the commission's approval.
you're our resident appraiser. Come on, bring that expertise.
well, it's not gonna go down, especially for the location, no, it ain't going down. As long as there's a splash pad in there, I'm gonna vote yes on this. I know Tim's, but you know what? For 14 years, 13 years now, what is it? Yeah, I'm pushing for a splash pad. I think the kids of Newberry need a splash pad.
Well, and just, we couldn't get stormwater for City Hall, and that significantly increased the cost of City Hall. So,
If we have a stormwater, they can splash.
in
There you go.
yeah. So, I mean,
I'm a problem solver, man.
in the relative context of that, I mean, I understand the implied criticism of paying more, but I've talked to real estate agents all the time, and if it was 200,000 and appraisal was one, I'd have the same reaction. But when you're talking a little bit here, a little bit there, any given, and that resident's idea is, hey, if I put it on the market, it could be a bidding war, and I could get more than that.
Well, in Alachua County, I'm seeing sometimes anywhere from 15 to 20% above
Yeah.
appraised values going. It's just ridiculous right now. So,
Yeah.
You
no.
might be watching this.
We're in Alachua County.
Yeah.
You might be
All right.
watching
Any other comments, questions on the motion on the floor?
from Georgia.
Okay, any other public comments? All right, roll call. Commissioner Coleman?
Aye.
Commissioner Clark?
Aye.
Commissioner Farnsworth?
No.
Commissioner Martin?
Aye.
Commissioner Maison?
Absolutely.
Motion passes 4-1 with Commissioner Farnsworth in dissent. That's going to move us to item 5. Yes, yeah.
This had to be approved by two boards, the city commission and the CRA board. And staff being strategic realized that the CRA board is so much tougher. And we plan to get an approval from the city commission and then say, hey, the city commission gave us approval, would you guys consider it? But it does have to be approved by the CRA board, and we intend to put it on consent since the same 5 fellows are here on that item.
Commissioner Maison.
I just want to add on, you know, I think this will contribute to downtown Seaboard Drive with the downtown Main Street events that they have. And there's a parking lot right behind downtown where they use that little section for a splash pad. And I think this would be a huge contributor. So I'm on board with this 100%. I don't know, just add on.
And just to be clear, there's parking, splash pad, stormwater, there's all kind of options here. So just
Do it all in
it's a
one.
strategic, all right, we know we'll need the property for something. Okay, that's going to move us to new item 16. This is the Easton Newberry Sports Complex land acquisition from the Swanee River. Mr. Joe? Come on, Joe. Take it away.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. Haven't had the pleasure of doing this since I was introduced to y'all several months ago, so glad to be here tonight. So I will say that and say forgive me if my first time doing this.
Well, it's Thanksgiving, so we're in a very relaxed mood. Yeah.
One of the things that, one of the projects that's coming on board here back in August that I was handed was to the completion of the land acquisition from the Swanee River Water Management District over at the Newberry Sports Complex. And I'm proud to say that has...
Thank you.
Somebody turned it off on you.
Usually I talk loud enough that I don't have to. I'm proud to say that has come to fruition tonight with y'all's blessing. What we have here, and I'm going to see if I can figure this out. No. There we go. The recommended action is to authorize the mayor and city manager to execute the appropriate documents, the deed, the conveyance deed, and easement agreement to acquire approximately 60 acres from the Swanee River Water Management District and add that to the complex campus there at the Newberry Sports Complex. In the picture here, you can see where that 60 acres is in relationship to the existing complex. And the parcel B and parcel A is just additional properties that were added through acquisition actions prior to my arrival. So there's this site plan. In 2001, the city acquired, the original 40 acres for the sports complex. 2017, approximately 10 acres were added. That's the parcels A and B there that we show in the picture. In 2001, the Swanee River Water Management District purchased 60-acre site to serve as Newberry's well field. And currently, we have 2 wells on that site, and there is room for an additional 3rd well should we see that we needed it for irrigation purposes in the future. The city constructed a 500,000-gallon elevated storage tank, and says here 2 additional portable water wells are possible. I know that the master plans that I have seen show at least 1 as a potential. And then the city commission authorized staff to attempt to acquire this 60-acre parcel from the Swanee River Water Management District. The primary use of the land will be as it was intended by Swanee River as a water production parcel of land. No permanent, in the easement portion of this transaction, no permanent structures will be allowed to be built on that 60 acres. But that's no change from the original lease agreement from what I could tell in my research over this.
The easement agreement will permit us to construct multi-purpose fields, so we will have up to 3 additional sports fields for football, soccer, lacrosse, that the community greatly needs to keep up with the demand for our recreational programs. And then the conservation easement restricts the ability to intentionally develop the 60 acres, but that's not what we're acquiring it for. We don't, our master plan has no, we have provisions for any structures that we were looking forward to building and outside of this 60 acre parcel. So the main campus has our baseball fields and has 1 or 2 multipurpose fields. Like I said, we got up to 3 multipurpose fields there on the southern, lower portion of the 60 acres there, and on the upper portion, areas where our laser tag facility is currently located. And
All right. You did great for your first time back. Questions? Commissioner Clark.
That's actually, my kids play out there, my grandbabies, so
Yes, sir.
it's, there's a lot going on out there all
Yes,
the time.
Yes, sir.
I know there's been some asking for lights.
Yes, sir.
And Mike alluded to, we have one contract already in place.
Yes, sir.
So we get that going. All right, my question is, when we get out there with them multi-purpose fields, the further out we get, since we can't build anything, how far will it be, Joe, like if you're in where the baseball diamond is and concessions or restrooms, how far will it be out there to that stuff?
Very good question, sir. And I'm sorry these pictures aren't very well, Mr. Clark, but in the straight down from the S, where the kind of the point of that road and the yellow line is, just into the gray hazed area, there are restroom facilities right there and a concession stand right there.
That's where they are?
Yes, sir.
Currently?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, and we looked at that when me and Mr. Young were negotiating with the Water Management District. That was one of the things that we took into consideration.
Yeah, and we're gonna use that, we're gonna use this portion here for our all-purpose fields?
Yes, sir.
So we ain't got no further than coming
Well,
from
there's,
where-
but it's actually a little higher than that, Mr. Clark.
Up there?
You're right there about where your finger is.
Well, if we did, we put something on wheels and it ain't permanent.
Exactly.
A
No,
20-foot container on wheels, you pull it out there, you have a nice concession stand, you pull it back out.
Yes, sir. And,
Improvise and adapt.
absolutely. And the easement agreement does allow us to put, lights out there.
Well, good.
So the language that says no permanent structures.
Yeah, I've seen that.
They were trying to preserve no, impervious materials being used, so we didn't, hamper the water absorption.
That's right.
Out there on that property.
Good job.
But the light poles, they had no issue with. We can build walkways out there with, mulch, as long as we don't use concrete and asphalt. So there are ways to accommodate their desires and suit ours as well.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Coleman.
There's no encumbrances, right? So the timber rights are ours too, right?
I'm gonna be honest, Mr. Clark, that was not
Mr.
addressed in the easement agreement and has not been addressed in any conversations that I've had.
Mr. Dude,
I think that. Sorry about that. Mr. Mayor, it's my understanding that the timber rights will transfer to the city.
That's
I
good
think
news.
that if we timber it, we would have to do it in accordance with the easement. We couldn't violate the terms of the easement in terms of
Right.
how we timber it, but you'll recall about 4 years ago, the Water Management District clear-cut the area that we're going to have multi-purpose fields, and they thinned it in the rest of the property.
Right.
Because they were anticipating this transfer of property. As Joe mentioned, we asked them 7 years ago. This has been a 7-year negotiation, and timbering it back 4 years ago was part of what their board said needed to happen in order for the transfer to occur. So
But they only thinned it.
They only thinned it. Every
Well,
third
they
row.
just bought Seaboard Drive right there. That's all I wanted to say.
All right. Other comments, questions, Commissioner Martin?
Yes, sir.
Joe, what would be the anticipated solution if we're putting fields out there and not able to put anything permanent? How do we get cars, wheelchairs out there?
That's what I was talking about on the, inside the gray area there where we have provisions for parking, and that is part of our master plan that we're having developed. And that was, and why I mentioned the walkways and stuff, we can construct a walkway out of permeable material that allows the water to perk through, that isn't concrete and asphalt. So we're still in the research for that. But, I mean, in my past, we've used cinders, we've used, a mulch, similar to what you would use on a playground area, whatever.
You can put a wheelchair on that?
Yes, sir.
57 stone.
Hang on one second,
Yeah,
Mr. Newberry.
well, no,
I'm disabled.
things like pea gravel and stuff are a little bit too loose for that, but the cinders like they use on a warning track around the ball field and stuff, they get pretty tight, and a wheelchair can maneuver on those fairly easily, but they're still considered a permeable material, and it will allow the water to perk through. But we may have to do a little research to come up with something that will serve both purposes and not violate our agreement. But I am very confident there's a material we can come up with to
We're
do.
going to go to Mr. New and then Commissioner Cole.
I'm just going to mention that, I mean, there's no prohibition on getting vehicles on there, so it would be appropriate for someone to bring a wheelchair-bound person and drop them at the playing fields. We're going to continue the conversation with the Water Management District about impervious surface. I would point out to the Water Management District that the water plant, just up the road from them there, has impervious surface and a building that are ancillary to having a water plant. And every water plant that I'm aware of has concrete and impervious surfaces and buildings. But I think that's an easier conversation to have when the deed says City of Newberry on it than when the deed doesn't say City of Newberry on it, and their staff goes back to their board and says that Mike New, he is incorrigible and you can't make that deal. So I thought we'd gotten to the end of negotiations for now, and that we could have another conversation in the future.
Okay, Commissioner Cole.
The two wells that are already on it, you said that those are, are they like regular well?
Yes, sir. They're
irrigation
potable.
wells?
They're potable water and irrigation wells. Yes, sir.
Okay, so what are we going to use them for?
They're ours.
They're ours now.
They are ours.
Yes,
They're
sir.
the city's
And they
local
feed
water
that 500,000 gallon overhead water tank.
Oh, they do?
Yes, sir. That's the best of my understanding.
We don't want to do nothing that's going to.
Yeah.
No. So, yeah, okay, we're good.
Okay, Commissioner Maison.
Yeah, so I had a question. So to Tim Martin's, Commissioner Martin's point with the wheelchair. I went to a convention that the city sent me to, and they had these rollout pads with holes in them, but a wheelchair that goes over a beach.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's accessible for wheelchairs.
Yes, sir.
Something like that is something that we could utilize out there.
I'm Commissioner Maison, without further research in it, I'm going to say yes at this point. That what will be incumbent upon me and my staff to demonstrate to the Water Management District is that it is a permeable surface and that it doesn't violate their caveats on permanent structures. So if it's something that we could put out, at the event of a soccer, tournament or soccer games being held out there and then be stored, if necessary, I'm sure that we can demonstrate that doesn't violate their restriction on permanent surfaces.
Other comments, questions?
Yeah,
All right.
is a splash park permeable?
I'm sorry, sir.
Is the splash park permeable?
I told you it's Thanksgiving. We're getting a little loose here.
No, sir, that's impermeable surface. It works on recirculating
I
water.
was asking for a friend.
For Fred, yes, sir.
I need your friend now.
Do you have a proposed action slide?
Yes, sir. The recommended action is to authorize the mayor and Mr. New to execute the appropriate documents to close the deal on the deed and the easement agreement.
I'm pretty
And
sure
so
that's
we
the
can move
scrivener's
forward
error.
with
There
that.
should just be a city manager for deeds and easements.
It's coming from the Water Management District, so I wasn't sure.
Okay.
Another
Well, we'll
government
find out.
entity, you may need to.
Okay, so do I have that motion?
Motion.
I have a motion from Commissioner Maison, second from Commissioner Clark. Any comments, questions on the motion on the floor from the dais? Public comments, questions on the motion on the floor?
Brandy Olman, I don't have an issue with this, other than where he said the bathrooms and the concession stand aren't really close to where that 60-acre parcel is. We already, when we had 4 multipurpose fields there in the back, the kids had to run to pee, and we have 4-year-olds that play soccer, so I don't know if there's a way to get like a porta potties back there or something, because it is quite a trek for our little ones. It's quite a trek back there. Yeah, and, yeah, figure something out, because it's pretty far back there, and I understand we're getting a new parking lot right there in the blue area. Yeah, that's it. I'm good with it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Other public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, sir. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your
Mr. Mayor, I'd note that the value of that property is about $900,000. That when I applied to the Water Management District, they paid cash for it. It wasn't donated to them, and they were willing to forego what they paid for it and transfer this to the city of Newberry. As I said, the estimated value of the land is $900,000. So when you see a board member for the Water Management District, please thank them for remembering that small communities don't have tons of funds to write checks for these types of things. They discussed it quite intensely at their board meeting, but at the end of the day, they decided that it would be best to simply transfer it to the citizens of Newberry.
Well, we appreciate that. We absolutely will pass along our gratitude. Okay, that moves us to Charter Officer Annual Evaluations. Oh, did we miss the meeting schedule? Oh, meeting schedule. Meeting schedule. You sat down. So, meeting schedule through the rest of the year.
Mr. Mayor, recommended action is to discuss the item and direct staff if you have any preferences of all. Here's the calendar for 2024. Has 5 Mondays in the month, the first being a schedule for a planning and zoning board meeting, and then the second Monday would be our regular city commission meeting. The fourth Monday would be a regular city commission meeting, and the third Monday, we've got a workshop on roads scheduled. So, Mr. Mayor, typically we have a conversation and the commission contemplates whether we could hold the second meeting on an alternate date, because this would be Christmas Eve, or forego the meeting altogether if there's no intense city agenda items that need to be heard.
Commissioner Martin.
I'm fine moving the 23rd to the 30th as a contingency if it's even needed at all, with the emphasis on if, as in no.
And Mr. Mayor, currently, we have no agenda items that are pressing to be heard for the second meeting in December.
Okay.
That's New Year's Eve.
Other,
Yeah.
Less likely people will be out of town.
I mean, I think we'll also have a better feel on the 8th.
I mean,
So
if we cancel it all together, then
We've done it in the past.
we're done anyway.
And
I'm
you all
fine
know that your
canceling it as
staff is ready, willing, and able to be here.
I'm sure
if
they're going to
needed.
pile up everything on the 8th to
Yeah.
get us through to the new year.
The
So,
9th.
the 9th.
All right, well then, my head nod is just to cancel it altogether. The second
I have a
meeting.
motion
And
to
I
cancel
second that.
from Commissioner Martin. I have a second from Commissioner Coleman to forego the second regularly scheduled. We still have the first one, and we still have the workshop, and we still have the P and Z meeting.
And I won't even be here.
Any comments or questions on the motion on the floor from the dais? Commissioner Clark.
So there's a lot of things going on in this month. Mike, is the workshop the roads? What is it? That's
This is
the
the
roads?
roads workshop, yes, sir.
How long do you think that'll take? 2 hours? I mean, I'm just asking because here's the deal. I can stay up late. I'm a big boy. We could combine to be able to do like the 9th or the 15th and do them together. I think somebody said you're gonna be out of town on that one?
No, I'm only out of town on the,
Which one?
on the last meeting.
The last one?
The 23rd.
The 16th?
I mean, I think that the
May or
road
may
just-
not be. I may or may not be here, but that's fine.
I think the road conversation
It warrants, we need it.
is a big one.
It is a big one?
And I don't want anybody to get tired on it.
Yeah. Okay,
Right, it's just a workshop.
Just a
It's
workshop.
Conversation. If you can't be here, you can watch the meeting
10-4.
afterward.
There you go.
But I think it would probably be best to leave it
Well, we
as
do need
separate. But
I-
you guys. are
I'm
in
with
charge.
Tim then. Cancel the other one and leave the rest.
Okay, I got a motion, probably second on the floor. Any other comments from the dais? Public comments on the motion on the floor? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Now, we're at Charter Officer Annual Evaluations. And I believe where are we at, fellas? Did we all get them turned in? We sure did.
Soft.
Okay, so
Soft.
I would say what we, since we got about 3 of you that have turned them in, 2
I
of
got
you
mine.
that are still. 2 of you that have turned them in, 3. Let's get those evaluations tomorrow and give staff plenty of time to calculate up the numbers and all that kind of stuff. And then at the meeting on the 9th, we can come back with the point tally versus the raise coefficient. Is that good? Dallas, we had it. Is that gonna be within time, or is that gonna, you're reaching for the mic? That's never good.
Well, ouch, first of all. Second of all, Mr. Mayor, all of your other city staff did receive their merit raises at the end of October. Your charter officers have not received merit raises. The lowest merit raise available is a 2%. Would the city commission be amenable to us at least providing the 2% merit raise to the charter officers for the next payroll?
Can we not retroactively pay
It's
the
a lot,
raises?
we can, it is a lot of work on
It's a
payroll
lot.
staff.
Okay, are we good with the 2?
Yes.
Now, and then we'll get everything tallied up, and that way, but does that mean that if they get a higher raise, we're not gonna retroactively, we just move forward with it at that point in time?
We will do whatever the commission directs us to do.
Okay, all right, well, we'll figure it out. Maybe we can buy you a Bev's burger. That's a consolation. Okay, that good? If you, I'm sure everyone has turned them in, but if you haven't, we're gonna get them right in there first thing in the morning. Plenty of time to tally that up. I was gonna move us to comments, citizen comments. Come on down, sir.
Howdy, howdy. It's getting late. I'd much rather be watching Monday Night Football. But Andrew Kaplan, Newberry resident, here as a parent of a third grader here. Recently, I put a few questions up on Facebook, just kind of hoping to get some answers to the budget that came out recently for the potential charter conversion. I would like to read these questions here. No one responded, unfortunately. But I would like to read them here, just so they're on the record. And I request that someone respond back in writing.
We're not allowed to.
What's up?
We're not allowed to. But I did get the email.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to read these real quick. And then, yeah, if someone from the city can respond back in writing, that would be great. If my assertions are wrong on anything, by all means, correct me. I feel like these are fair questions, just based on reviewing the budget. So, we were told the budget was solid, that it was going to be better for the kids, but it shows that the computer to children ratio actually decreases 4 to 1. I'm curious why that is, if that's true. We asked, actually, many people have asked, why the charter conversion or why a new school wasn't sort of started on its own. Why not just leave the elementary school alone, kind of kickstart a smaller school. It would help with crowding, things like that. I think the number one answer we got was money. But given the $2 million that was discussed at the last meeting and the discussion of other possible grants, I guess my question is, why couldn't those funds be allocated toward that process? Is it enough? Kind of what's the hole there? I believe at the last meeting, we were told that that $2 million would be kind of used as a backstop of some kind, or that it wouldn't possibly be needed. Maybe grants would cover some. If I'm misunderstanding that, again, please correct me, but that budget in the email shows that the elementary school is very reliant on that. I think it shows that the elementary school was negative 3 years, the first 3 years. So my question to that is just, what's the discrepancy there? Why are we being told otherwise? Again, if that's not the case, correct me. One thing that we kept hearing was that teachers were going to get paid, that they were going to see a big pay increase. I believe this budget shows that it would be a 0.5% cost of living increase, and that a 1.5% highly effective increase if they qualify for that. The school district gives the 1% step plan increase, and on top of that, they offered a 1.6. So I think what this budget shows for the Newberry Elementary School would be a 2% versus what the district is offering is 2.6. That does not account next year's budget increase. I'm also curious if that includes any supplemental pay for other activities. Transportation was a big one. I think I saw 5 buses. I think that's what Newberry may have now. Maybe it's 6 buses. But it shows that there's about 33% student ridership. So I'm curious what the current ridership is at Newberry Elementary, and if this plan uses the same zones and boundaries as the district, and if there's going to be a radius map of some kind that we'll know that parents can see. I keep hearing this board, I don't know what to call them, to be honest with you guys, the community school, those folks, I keep hearing them being referred to as the governing board, but I don't know if it was advertised or not. I had a lot of people tell me that they didn't know the application process was going on. I guess my question is, if they've been meeting and discussing, are those meetings open to the public? Will they be open to the public? I know the school board currently does the 2 meetings per month plus workshops and special meetings and all that. So I would like to know if those are going to be open and when, and if they'll meet more than twice a year. Also, there's an issue with the meals. I think this plan doesn't show that I think the meal plan, I think that they go almost double the cost, and that it wouldn't qualify for free and reduced, at least not until halfway through the year. So if someone can just explain that. And also, I'm curious where the kitchen equipment is and who will serve the lunches.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate those comments. Other public comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to Mr. Manager. Do you have any comments?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a reminder to the community and the commission that this is a holiday week for solid waste collections. So normally scheduled Thursday and Friday pickups will be pushed back one day for the Thanksgiving holiday. Also a reminder, city staff is staffing our facilities Monday through Wednesday from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. So we're here at the appropriate times that citizens are expecting us to be. Mr. Mayor, a couple of our team members, I think there's 5 of us that attended last Friday a meeting with the UF-IFAS vice president and with the president from Santa Fe College, talking about an ag tech opportunity that's coming to Florida, and they are gearing themselves out to be well positioned to take advantage of that funding. They have assurances that the funding is a done deal from Governor DeSantis, and they're planning to be at the head of the line. We are still considered a business partner with them, and I anticipate that as that initiative moves forward, that we'll start seeing more activity from those two institutions in the Newberry Ag Food Tech Innovation Park. So just wanted to point that out.
Very exciting.
We've got a lot of exciting things going on with development these days. Last week, we met with an industrial development that plans to come to Newberry, and, they haven't submitted a site plan yet, but we anticipate one within the next 2 weeks. So it'll be not a huge employer, but will be non-residential, will be an employer, will be in our commercial park. We're enthusiastic about that. Had a conference call today with 2 venture capitalists from the ag tech industry that was familiar with the initiative to do large animal meat processing in Newberry, and they weren't necessarily pitching an idea. They just wanted to learn more about that initiative, and we kind of explained the genesis of it. It's something that come from Alachua County, that we had partnered with Alachua County to provide a location, and that I hadn't heard anything from the community that we weren't willing to host a facility like that if they knew people that were in that business. Mr. Mayor, I'd also mention to the commission that our legislative agenda is going to be coming out very soon. It'll probably be on the December meeting, either the December meeting or the first meeting in January. So start thinking of those requests we have of the state legislature that we'd like to see go in the hat for us to advocate for as they go through their legislative session next spring. And Mr. Mayor, we are coming up into crunch time on 2 very important grants to the city of Newberry. We have a $5.6 million grant application in for the Florida Jobs Growth Grant that has gotten good traction with the state staff at the Department of Commerce. So I think right now we feel confident that we would get funded, but there's additional advocating to do with the governor and his office. We've got staff on board. We need to make sure that political figures are on board as well. As we know through last year's veto, that sometimes you can get everything right to the finish line and still not get it across. We also, in the same boat, we think the Florida Jobs Growth Grant will happen in January or February. That's when the governor would like to make those announcements. We think our wastewater grant those announcements will be in December or early January. Mr. Mayor, that concludes my comments.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Attorney?
Comment, Mr. Mayor, other than December 18th, our ethics trainings. You're all
Looking forward to it. And I loved the email, the Happy Thanksgiving. What was the recipe? It was corn casserole. Wow, it was great. I like it. It was a nice touch. Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk? Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Coleman? Commissioner Clark?
God bless America and God bless our troops.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Farnsworth?
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you, sir. He's got that pregnant pause in back effect. Commissioner Martin?
Why do they call it a chicken coop?
Oh, he's joined that. Why?
Or why does a chicken coop have 2 doors? Excuse me. I said it wrong. Because if it had 4, it'd be a chicken sedan.
Now, Ms. Janine, are you because we already did public comment. We did.
I'm sorry, I forgot it, or I missed it, but Janine Miranak, I just wanted to announce that I want to say 2 or 3 years into it, David has been doing a fabulous job, but he moves the end of this week back to Philadelphia with his family.
Oh, man. We're going to miss you. Travel safely. We hope it's all for the best. He has been great. Commissioner Mazon?
Yes, I am looking.
Up you with that chicken sedan.
That was good. I like it. I mean, it's a dad joke, right? No, so I'm excited about December and the holiday, but there's a couple things. Jesus, I went to the North Fleet Cattle, and man,
yeah,
the prices are compatible.
Yeah,
I mean, Publix better watch out. Cause I mean, and the meat looked well. I don't know if any of you guys had a chance to go by there. Where? North Fleet Cattle, beef, and seafood.
All day, you just visit. Some of us have to do things.
Hey, it's not considered work if you're having fun. Just saying. But yeah.
Brown truck to drive around and visit.
Huh?
Somebody else isn't retired either, right?
Yeah.
That's right. I'm not retired. Are you retired?
No, I'm not retired. I wish I was.
I'm tired.
But anyway, so yes, and I'm looking forward to December. But you know, yeah, I have a dad joke. I have a buddy of mine. He could not pay his water bill, so he has no water. So I sent him a get well soon card.
Thank you, sir. Let's see. Congratulations to the NC Beef and Seafood Market. I took students to Greece one time, and at the top of a hotel, looking out at the water, we had octopus, and it was the whole tentacle there. And it took me a long time, but I ate it, and it was delicious. And they've got that at the seafood market. So you can go there, and I tell you, I don't know how to cook it like that, but I'm going to learn. I'm going to YouTube it, because now I can buy it fresh right here. But I agree, the bacon was delicious. They had little samples out, and you can go in and you can get whatever cut you want. And so the whole town square is just, it is beautiful, right? I mean, we had the rodeo. They just opened up the Tex-Mex place, and there were people from Gainesville coming to Newberry to go out to eat at either their Stone House or Tex-Mex and then go to the rodeo. And I thought, that's what we've been working for, right? We want our residents to have things to do here in town. We want to welcome people to come into Newberry, spend a lot of money, and then go back home.
Tony's clam chowder too.
They have, they might have a splash pad. I know they got a big fire. They've got Tony's clam chowder from Cedar Key, which was very exciting. Commissioner Martin, are we broadcasting from Cocoa? Do you know?
Well, I'm waiting on I was waiting on a response from the FHSAA. Let me check my email real quick. No. Well, in true fashion, they've not responded.
Yeah.
We're
gonna try.
They're not the.
This time I didn't realize you needed.
Yeah. Stand by.
Yeah.
Stand by.
We'll announce it, I'm sure.
I thanked you
Commissioner
on the post about it there, Splash Pad.
So if we can, that'd be great. These guys are gonna have to come right after Thanksgiving. They're gonna be going down there on Friday. So they've got to go down, they got to broadcast, so whatever we can do as a community to help make sure, we'd appreciate that. We are going into Christmas, right? So all of those activities, I'm glad we had that presentation that we can go through that. I appreciate that. And, oh yeah, if you didn't go this weekend to Thanksgiving in the park, it was absolutely gorgeous. CLF, I don't know, there was 300 people there that they gave Thanksgiving meal to. They gave out turkeys, they gave out bagged groceries. Wonderful gift to the community, truly was great. So we just have so many folks working to do so much, to so many things. I appreciate all of them. And I answered this question, I'm not gonna try to answer all of Mr. Calvin's questions now, but I answered this question before, but I'll keep saying it again. To the question of, why wouldn't the city open up, or people in the city open up another charter school? As a public education teacher, one of my criticisms of charter schools is that only the kids who have parents who can navigate that system really ever get the opportunity to take their kids out and put them in the charter school. And this plan, every single kid gets to experience that. Every single kid gets to have that benefit. In anything else, all we do is we take kids out of our schools and they go to another school, and that defunds. This keeps all the money in our schools, and that's why this is such a benefit. This is why this is so good for everybody. The teachers are getting a significant increase. I'm not sure the numbers that you have, but I do know that I trust the guy who's won 6 international awards. And I know there's a whole lot of accountant PhDs on social media, and I don't know what they're talking about. But I know when this guy stands up and he says it, then I can believe it, because I know this guy knows what he's talking about. And that's what's happened here. So I appreciate all of that. But that's my answer to that question, is that this gives it to every single person, and I appreciate that. And we are?
I missed public comment too, I'm sorry.
Come on down, Ms. Brandy. Come on down.
Well, it's getting late here, so I'll try to be quick. We don't doubt Dallas's good intentions and good nature, his ability to work with numbers. I'd like to point out, though, that that award is, you kind of got to pay for that award and pay to enter it, which is why a lot of bigger cities get it, because they can afford to enter that contest. Not taking nothing away from him, I'm not digging at him or anything, but I also saw a few concerning things in the budget, like after year one, our pre-K ESE gets cut in half, and I didn't see a budget for VPK at all. If we want to help our ESE students, I didn't see where that was involved in the budget, and I'd like to read a letter from, what's her name? Amanda Elridge, from November 7th, so not that long ago. Where she was talking to Dallas. What does the $2.1 million consist of? I asked because $1.6 million is the startup year one, and that includes $140,000 in planning year costs for SPF, which is their company. Arnold Law, Cherry, and Carolyn, which I don't know who Cherry is at all. Another thing is to consider the aftercare revenue. We want to make sure that a school is maintaining a healthy reserve so it does not appear to reviewers that aftercare is surplus is supporting the school financially. And as a reviewer, it kind of does look like that. And we're raising the cost of school lunch, and we're raising the cost of after school, and that's in your budget. That's actually not false. That's true. That's in the budget. I worry about the kids here that can't afford those things already. So, like, we're looking at a $5 lunch. I don't want to pay $5 for the lunch served at that cafeteria. But, you know, whatever. So it's under my understanding that you are going to move this to you get your lunches from other school, and then the teachers hand them out in the classroom, you in the classroom, whatever, that kind of thing. But the system we have now gives the kids options. So if they don't want the typical hot lunch, they get like peanut butter and jelly, a string cheese, a piece of fruit or something, and that really helps our picky kids. So this one particular meal you bring on this one particular day that's warm, the kid doesn't want it. So they don't have that safety meal backup. That to me is concerning, and if you have any thoughts on that, if you could just email them to me, that would be great. And yeah, I don't see a great revenue, and I understand what you were talking about at the 70%. You made it balance at the 70%, so it gets less tight as you get more students. I understand that. Don't get me wrong on that. But in year 4, we have an increase in like 200 students or something, and 5 more portables brought in, or 2, I don't know, fancy portables, $3,000 a month, so they're like double wide portables. I understood that y'all didn't like the portables and you wanted to get rid of those, but we're bringing in more. So that was just some of the concerns I had. I'm not trying to get into it with anybody. I'm just speaking my mind, as I always do. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I would just say, Dallas, kudos to winning the award. Just kudos to winning the award. I think most of these contests, cities have to care enough to set it as a goal, as the manager said, and we should never say anything or do anything that denigrates the accomplishments. So I appreciate that. I think that the residents of Newberry appreciate that we are winning awards for transparency in government, and I don't ever want to say anything that takes anything away from that. I know that when the hey, ma'am, public comment's over. When the application's going to go out tomorrow, and in that application, then a lot of these things that have been said here tonight that are wrong because you don't have the whole application there, they'll become public. And I know that the Newberry School Board is working on a website that when they get a charter, that website will go up and people will be able to ask those questions directly to them. And I believe what I read, I thought was asking for the Newberry School Board to answer the question, which is why I didn't respond. But to be honest, I'm not going to use Facebook to answer those kinds of questions because the conversation doesn't really go well on social media. It kind of requires, there are some people, again, who are listening to argue, and so every time you say something, they just twist it right around and come right back at you. I've always offered to meet anybody face to face, have a cup of coffee, and we can have all kinds of conversations for as long as you want to have about it. But the social media is not a forum to have an actual conversation that's looking for understanding. So with that, since we've already had 2 or 3 different citizen comments, we are adjourned. Don't go anywhere. We got a whole other BOA meeting. with, this is Board of Adjustment meeting is starting now. Ma'am, Miss Brandy, start another meeting. I appreciate that. Call this Board of Adjustment meeting to order for November 25th. I'll ask for an approval of the agenda as it was published. I have a motion from Commissioner Mazon, second from Commissioner Coleman. Any comments, questions, motion on the floor from the dais? Public comments or questions on the motion on the floor? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as it was published? Motion from Commissioner Farnsworth, second from Commissioner Coleman. Is that Coleman? No, Commissioner Clark. Comments, questions on the motion on the floor? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passed unanimously. We go to our one item agenda, which is a quasi. We are entering quasi-judicial procedures. This means that the commission will stop being a legislative body and become a judicial board. This means that we have to follow certain rules and adhere to a different standard of decision-making. Their primary rule as follows concerns testimony, and the substantial and competent evidence standard must be met when the judicial board makes a decision. This standard states the following, and I quote, "All public testimony will be taken under oath. Everyone testifying will be subject to cross-examination. All documents and exhibits shall be entered into evidence. Giving opinion testimony is limited to experts, and closing arguments will be limited to the evidence of record." Mr. Attorney, would you please read into the record the resolution by title?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Newberry, Florida, serving as the Board of Adjustment of the City of Newberry, Florida, approving an application for site and development plan for the construction of approximately 9,929 square foot orthodontics facility in a commercial intensive CI zoning district pursuant to Section 14.12 of the City of Newberry Land Development Regulations, along with approval of variance petition as authorized under Section 3.2.5 of the City of Newberry Land Development Regulations for the granting of the reduction of parking requirements located generally at south of Southwest 15th Avenue and west of Southwest State Road 45, identified as portion of tax parcel number 02530-004-001 on 1.12 plus acres within the corporate limits of the City of Newberry, Florida, repealing all resolutions in conflict, providing an effective date. The appropriate motion will be to approve Resolution 2024-20 SDP 24-05 upon its reading by title only.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Madam Clerk, would you please swear any applicant or participants and staff? Thank you, ma'am. Before we begin, we need to disclose any ex parte communications. Disclose whether any member physically inspect the property. Remember, ex parte communications are any conversation or transmission of information that may have bearing influence on any voting member's decision. Commissioner Cole?
None.
Commissioner Clark? Commissioner Farnsworth? Commissioner Martin?
None.
Commissioner Mazon? I'm a non-voting chair, but I have none either. I'm going to go ahead and explain the order of presentation we're going to follow for this quasi. We're going to hear from the staff with the overview. Then the applicant has the opportunity to make a presentation with no time limit. Then we'll hear from the staff with their report and recommendation, also with no time limit. Nobody is contacting me wishing to claim a third-party intervener status, so that's going to move us to cross-examinations. Then members of the decision-making body, through the chair, can ask questions of the staff or the applicant. Then we'll hear final arguments. Then the attorney will advise the decision-making body applicable law and the factual findings that must be made to approve or deny. Then we'll enter into deliberations. After deliberations, a motion will be taken to approve conditions, continue, or deny. Ms. England, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everybody. I'm back again. I'm reading Resolution 2024-20 SDP 2405 Site and Development Plan for Progressive Orthodontics. Motion to recommend is the Board of Adjustment to adopt Resolution 2024-20 SDP 2405. This is a portion of partial 02530-004-001. This is generally located at Southwest 15th Avenue and west of Southwest State Road 45 in the Newberry Triangle area, where already we have where we have the storage unit. This will be the orthodontics office along with some infrastructure there. Petition is by Progressive Orthodontist, and agent for the proposed petition is JB Pro. We have Logan here for representing JB Pro. The future land use is commercial, and the current zoning is CI. This is the aerial view of the property. As I said, it is next to the storage unit. This is again one more aerial view of where it is located. So the Site and Development Plan Office is for Progressive Orthodontics, approximately 9,929 square feet of facility with improved infrastructure. They have included three-way entrance there with approximately 5 employees. With the petition, they have also included a variance for parking reduction. According to our section 4.1211 City of Newberry Land Development Regulation, this project required 1 parking space per 150 square feet building, of total of 66 parking space. However, the proposed site planned to include only 33 parking spaces. They have a justification to go with that. They are saying that the building will be split into 3 separate uses. Each will have approximately 5 employees, which will generate 17 trip during the peak hour. Therefore, they are proposing 33 parking space rather than 66. We are also in the process of changing our LDR because our LDR are based on earlier regulations, which is right now kind of more than what is required for the parking for these spaces. Also, to let the panel know that there will be parking on the other side, which is the storage unit. So we have applicant here. They don't have any kind of presentation, but Logan from JB Pro is here for any questions. Should I proceed?
Let me just bring Ms. Logan up, and do you have any, you don't have a presentation? Do you have any objections to what Ms. Uma said so far? Can you say that into the record for us?
No, sir, no objections.
Okay, thank you. Go right ahead, Ms. Uma.
So as a part of site and development plan criteria, we see all these points. We see the ownership and control, density, traffic, parking, loading, screening, stormwater, sanitary sewer, utility, recreation facility, open spaces, and amenities. These are some of the things which we take care of when we are reviewing this. And we went back and forth with the applicant on this application, and finally the proposed facility is an L-shaped property with 3 entrances. They have some nice landscaping and parking there. This is the proposed architectural elevation they are proposing. In the Planning and Zoning Board meeting, there were some discussion on the 2nd floor, but I think 2nd floor is just it's a overlay district requirement to have like some kind of window features there. So it's just window features on the 2nd floor there. This is the proposed landscape requirement, and for this we have to go a lot back and forth with them because it is in the overlay district, and we want this place to look prettier. They have also provided us the trip generation data because we are reducing the parking space, and then again it is on the 15th Avenue just in front of the school, so they have provided their own trip generation data, and according to that, I think the PM peak hour will be 17, daily trip will be 131, and AM peak will be 16, so which is under our ITI trip generation manual. So staff find the request consistent with the City of Newberry Land Development Regulation and Comprehensive Plan, and motion for recommendation for the Board of Adjustment is to adopt Resolution 2024-20 SDP 2405. I'm here for any questions.
Okay, thank you. I've not been contacted by anybody wishing to claim a third-party intervener status. That's going to move us to public comment. Any members of the public wishing to speak to this agenda item, you have 3 minutes to do so. Seeing none, did you hear anything you want to cross-examine? No? We'll go to member decision-making body, Commissioner Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've got two questions. The parking spaces, are they also accounting for the current retail that's already there for, like, there's a hair salon there, and there's a couple other things right there in that northern building that face north.
I am not aware of that. I would suggest if Logan know about that. I know that the parking, right now the parking generation is just for the progressive
Yeah, this
orthodontics.
park, I'm not sure how this interfaces with the existing northern storage building. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't. It's a separate application, so the parking is only for the medical building that's being proposed on this portion of the parcel.
I'm not sure I'm not sure it aligns with what's there, is, I guess, my question. I know there's spaces across the front of that northern building.
Is that for the storage facility?
Yeah.
that you're
Could you
referring
put
to?
the image on the screen
Yeah,
for
I
us?
see what you're talking about, but it seems like.
It's almost like they're gonna be
Like
parking
back
in
to
their
back.
tandem. Those spaces on the southern edge,
Yes, sir. Of our parcel.
they're gonna be facing the northernmost storage building. That storage building actually has commercial spaces there. It's not just
Yes, sir.
storage. And you'll almost be,
So what you're
like
looking at
parking
is the
in tandem.
parking bay. You can't actually see the storage building on this image. So there's like a landscape island between the two pieces of pavement.
Mr. Manager? Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, there's the southern edge of the parking spaces is a 5-foot wide sidewalk. South of that is the drive aisle for the parking spaces for the building to the south.
Okay.
The white space is not the commercial buildings that's already there.
That's correct.
It's like buried parking.
Right.
The tattoo shop, and then you have their parking.
Yes,
You
sir.
had two questions, Commissioner Martin.
Yes. My other question is, if you're on 15th Avenue, this island at the entrance wouldn't allow for a left-hand in, which is, doesn't make any sense to me. It seemed like you should be making a
westbound-
left-hand turn.
A westbound left in.
Yes.
That's correct. I think the reason for that was because the main entrance is on 2741.
But there's no,
That's
Further up.
into your right.
That's 15th Ave up there. Yeah, and then 45 is to your, 27 to your right. And there's a main entrance going in.
It's a
So far.
shared entrance with the storage
Storage.
facilities. Yes, sir.
where is, Logan, where's the entrance from 2741 then?
Very south.
Down here?
Bottom of the page where it says utility easement, that is also the
Yes, sir. So do you see the little gray hatch
Yeah,
that's
it's
kind of
already
weird
there.
shaped? Yes. If you follow that dark line that curves
Yeah,
towards the right of the page,
it's on the south side of that?
yes, sir.
Okay. I guess my comment is if you're coming south on 2741, there's at least a left turn lane, and given the parking is behind, to the west of the building, I would think more people will use the right-hand turn lane, go west on Southwest 15th and turn into the parking lot. So I would take out that island and allow left-hand in off of Southwest 15th on the westbound.
I don't have any opposition to that. Acceptable. Oh, is the island? That's a good, yes, that's true. That's an existing entrance now, and we're leaving it as existing.
That's
Thank you.
associated with many stores.
Yes, sir,
It's not
that's correct.
associated with this project. Outside the limits of this project.
Sort of. It's an existing drive to that parcel from 15th Avenue, and so we're just improving it. I believe it's It's not
Yeah.
in very good condition right now. I don't know if we have
I
a
don't
urinal
think it's-
that we
I
can
don't-
put up, but.
My opinion is it's not,
So you'd prefer a brand-new entrance from 15th
just
Avenue?
level it off. I think you just level off the island. I don't think we need it in there. Yeah, because you can't make a left-hand turn in there. I think the purpose of putting that in there originally was to keep people from cutting through. This is not convenient to cut through once the parking lot is in there.
Yes, sir.
It's no longer convenient to
I
put in
agree.
there. So I don't think that island wedge there is needed, and I think it actually will improve getting in and out, getting on and off of
Hang on, I
2741.
understand what Commissioner Martin is saying, but is that wedge in the scope of this quasi? Because that's owned by the property owners existing already, so we can't make this applicant take it out, because they would have to go and then say to Lee and Chris, well, the commission wants you to take that out now.
Well, I'll talk to Lee myself then.
Yeah.
Where's the flagpole? Is it still there, or it goes away? It's further south?
It's further south, like by the storage.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's in the fence. It's in the fence.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll talk to Lee.
Okay.
All right, any other questions on this, Commissioner Farnsworth?
Is there a proposed 3 different businesses that are going to be there with 5 employees each? Is that what I heard?
My understanding, and I don't know for sure, my understanding is it will be 5 employees total. The center portion of the building is where Progressive Orthodontics is going, and the other 2 wings are vacant right now, but Dr. Martin intends to lease those out to other medical professionals. I think there's a med spa from Gainesville that wants to come into Newberry, so they're talking about leasing a portion of that building for that use. But those 5 employees, it covers the entire building.
So there could be a potential for 15 or more employees.
I think it would depend on who comes in. I don't know the answer to that question.
I mean, my main concern is there going to be adequate parking for what's proposed there?
So the trip generation calculation required 17 peak trips. That's standard for traffic engineering, is to use the PM peaks, which we calculated at 17. And we're proposing, I think, UMA's presentations in 33 or 34. So we're doubling what's required according to the trip generation calculations. And I would just like to point out that the site itself is not entirely conducive to providing adequate parking per the land development regulations. It's just too small of a parcel to add all those parking spaces. We either have to get a variance for the number of parking or a variance for the parking stall size. And even reducing the size of the parking stalls, you couldn't get all those 66 spaces on there.
Well, you're gonna get a lot of golf carts. We're a golf cart
Yes, sir.
community. You're gonna get a lot of golf carts.
So, if you're proposing around 30 parking spaces and you have 15 employees in the building, I mean, that's half of your parking space. How is that going to be adequate enough to accommodate all the patients?
Like I said, I don't know the final answer to how many employees are going to be in the building.
By appointment only.
I think
Yeah, it
that's
don't matter. I
the,
mean, it's still going to have to have a place
yes,
to park.
I think that's what the applicant said at the beginning, that this will be mostly appointment only facility, so they were like thinking that every moment it will be not more than 4 to 5 patients in each.
I just don't think it's going to be adequate enough parking for 3 businesses. I don't, but
Commissioner Martin, I thought you wanted to go back again? No? Commissioner Maison?
What are the 3 businesses again? I'm sorry.
We only know of one, right?
Correct.
We only-
Yes, sir.
And I would say that the orthodontics is probably not gonna bring in business
No.
that then takes out their parking lot, right? Like, they're gonna have the same concerns. They want their customers to get up there. I think they've doubled what we asked for. I don't know how much more we could, I mean, I think we've been talking a lot about parking, and I don't know what the right number of parking is for everything, but, I I mean, if they're doubling what we would normally require.
Yes, sir. And the other two uses for the building will be some type of medical use. There are no contracts in place yet, but,
But there will be medical uses.
yes, sir.
Okay, I'm totally fine with that. Yeah, my only concern was, which is not your problem, is that traffic coming on 15th Ave, taking a left and a right, but that's nowhere in your parameter. So I think it's a great idea. I like it. I love the outlay of your architects. I'm
Yeah,
good
I
with
like the way the building looks too.
I like the way it
think
looks
it's gonna look
on
really
all
nice.
angles.
And it kind of hides the mini
Yes,
It
sir.
does.
Commissioner Coleman, was that a question you were starting?
Just wanting to know where the detention pond is, right here?
That's a
It's
good
already
question.
there.
So
Yeah.
the Newberry Triangle, I guess, commercial subdivision has an existing stormwater facility on the very southern corner. And so we're just tying into that stormwater basin as a conformance item.
That's good planning.
Well, we could park here,
Yeah. Or it could be a splash,
but don't
stormwater.
bring that up.
I thought it was a great idea. Okay, other questions? No? That's gonna move us. Did you hear anything from staff you want to cross-examine? Oh, I'm sorry, we already did that. Final arguments. Would you like to make a final argument? You don't have to. No?
I'm happy.
Would you like to make a final argument, Ms. Newman? You don't have to either? No? All right. Mr. Attorney, would you please advise the decision-making body?
Substantial and competent evidence, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. We'll enter into deliberations. If there are no deliberations, I'll have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Martin, second from Commissioner Maison. Comments, questions, motion on the floor from the dais? Public comments or questions on the motion on the floor? Do I need to do a roll call? Commissioner Coleman? Aye. Commissioner Clark? Yes. Commissioner Farnsworth? No. Commissioner Martin? Aye. Commissioner Maison? Absolutely. Motion passes 4-1 with Commissioner Farnsworth in dissent. And that's any new topics before we adjourn? Hearing none. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you. Congratulations. We're so excited. Looking forward to it. We are.